Hello, my name is Frank Anbari. It's my sincere pleasure to welcome to Drexel our good colleague Adesh Jain, a global leader in project management. Welcome, Adesh. Pleasure to have you at Drexel.
Thank you very much, Frank. Thank you very much indeed.
We're delighted to have you here. Thank you for visiting with us.
Thank you.
You have any connection to Drexel before that you'd like to tell us about?
Yes, I think I have very deep and fond memories of this great university. Okay. My relation, brother-in-law, my wife's elder brother, used to teach here in the management school. And he was teaching accountancy. And in early 90s, I used to come and visit him. And since then, I have very fond memories of this great university, Drexel University. I always like to be back here and visit this great university.
Well, thank you very much and welcome again. Adesh, you are past president of the International Project Management Association, IPMA. Would you tell us some more about IPMA?
I think it's interesting you asked that question, Frank, because the earlier name of IPMA was Internet. And it was established in 1965 in Zurich, Switzerland. There were 5 or 6 countries, the Association of Project Management, who got together and they said, look, let's form an association to share the best practices in project management. And in 95, after 30 years, when this Internet now became so popular, the decision of IPM Internet then was to change the name, because nobody will ever know Internet except the Internet we know now. So we changed it to IPMA in 1995. IPMA stands for International Project Management Association. It comprises of 58 member associations.
58 members.
Association as on today, and they come from 6 continents. It is based on federal structure. There is no full-time office or permanent office or staff except one person, and is working on partially on the part-time secretariat. Each association is non-profit in nature, and IPMA works through these member associations, as we call it. Twice in a year, we have Council of Delegate meeting in March and September. Recently, we had in Rotterdam, in Holland, in September. We share the ideas, we take the decisions, what are the best practices, how do we unite the world through projects and program management. That is the main aim, is to create a globally unified understanding of projects and program and portfolio management. I am so lucky that since 1965, in 49 years history, I happen to be the only non-European president ever elected in 2005, and it is based quite a bit European-centric in the sense that out of 58, 37 countries or member associations are from Europe. So that is the basic understanding of creating the understanding among the professionals at a global level.
And IPMA runs regular congresses?
Every year.
Every year, and it moves from one location?
One location to another location. Right.
Is individual membership possible in IPMA, or is that just association?
It is not. It is not encouraged. But it used to be there that if there is no member association in a country, then if they want to become member of IPMA, they can directly become. But I think gradually this is getting discouraged. They have to form the association in their own country, and through this country member association, they should join IPMA. Recently, in this meeting in September 2014 in Rotterdam, we have included Malaysia as our latest entry to the association IPMA.
What's the website for IPMA?
www.ipma.ch.
CH for?
CH for the Switzerland.
Switzerland, CH. And I'm sure there are plenty of resources on the website there and current news. And
yes, a lot of information about the standards, competency-based. IPMA's major forte is competency-based qualifications. behavioral context, behavioral component, contextual component, and technical component. What we call an I principle, 3 parts.
I see.
These 3 parts are 3 columns or 3 legs of a stool, and they have to be integrated to deliver the projects and programs.
And they do offer individual certification?
Yes.
Oh, it's several levels, isn't it?
There are 4 levels.
4 levels.
Level IPMN level A, which in English called Certified Project Director. Level B, which is called Certified Senior Project Manager. Level C, which is called Certified Project Manager. And level D, which is called Certified Project Management Associate. The reason we call IPMN level A, B, C, and D, because there are so many countries, they have their own languages. Nobody will like to standardize on English. French people will never like that. Germans may not like that. So we allow each national association to decide what would be the acronym, but for these 4 levels. But the levels are there. A is the highest level.
Well, thank you very much. That's great. Glad to hear all of those updates. You're also honorary president of Project Management Association of India. Please tell us some more about that, if you would.
I think, Frank, it is very interesting. In 1993, we established PMAI, Project Management Associates India. And at that time, our mission statement of PMAI India was to create project-oriented India. We believed at that time that India has a challenge as a developing nation, as a developing economy, to look at the larger picture, to look at larger picture in terms of time scale, 10 years, 25 years, rather than short term. And we, of course, we have to be at the balcony and the dancing floor simultaneously. So we can see the long version, long view, and is also looking at the shorter dimension. But at that time, we believed in India was more short term comparatively. As a developing nation, we had to solve many issues, financial reforms. The country was going through a tough time. We had a license domain, license regime. We have to get licenses. India was moving in early 90s towards open economy, financial reforms. And that is the time when we said that to create project-oriented India, a project thinking, the project mindset, where we have to look at 1.2 billion people in its holistic sense, not in terms of parts. We have to look at whole first and implement parts later. That was the idea of establishing this. And 21 years, we are constantly working in this direction, and we have been substantially improved this situation, and there is a lot of awareness about project management today in India.
Well, that's great. Remind you that in the early days of that activity, that effort, important effort, in 1995, you kindly invited me to your wonderful Congress in Delhi, and I enjoyed the presentations we did there and workshop you asked me to do as well. You asked me to say a few words at the closing ceremony, and I still remember that very vividly. I know that I stood up there in front of great delegation, the entire Congress, and quite a few dignitaries you invited there. And after I thanked you very sincerely for the hospitality and the interaction, the engagement of everybody, and their very kind reception, I paused for a moment, I remember, and I issued a challenge to the participants there, saying that a nation of 1 billion people at that time, with such a great culture, long respected civilization, I challenged you to produce the first project management professional in India, PMP. And the rationale for that was to compete on the world stage. Everybody needs to produce credentials that are known by the international community. Can you give us some update on what happened in the past 20 years since then?
No, I think, Frank, your presentation was very thought-provoking and opened up a new directions, and that was our 4th Global Symposium. We started in 92, and 1995 when you came, it was a great to have your workshop as well as your talking in our symposium. You did challenge us to move into the international arena, and I still recall you said today the world is getting interconnected more and more, and Adesh, that your great association must look in terms of integrating with the global networks. And I think this was quite inspiring personally. And I certainly became the first PMP in 1997.
PMP number 1 in India.
Number 1 in 1997. And I happened to be the first non-North American to receive the Distinguished Contribution Award from PMI in 97. And that is the time when they showed there's nothing from India. Then I said, I took the challenge. I said, before I leave United States, I shall be. Right. And I did become. It was very tough exam that time, 8 papers, and it was really very tough to pass all the 8 papers together, but that was good. Later on in 2001, when we wanted to go into competency-based certification, not merely confined to knowledge-based, sure. So we moved into IPMN level A, and I became the first assessor at level IPMN level A from India. So I have 2 credentials, first PMP and first level A for competency-based assessment qualifications.
That's wonderful. And PMP is progressing in India now. There's
quite a few.
Quite a few.
Similarly, we are also progressing a lot in the competency-based qualifications, which is knowledge plus experience plus report writing, sure. plus assessment. Competency, I think, is now our major job, sure. in India, to move forward, because ultimately it is the competencies which will deliver the results.
Wonderful. That's great. I'm glad to see the progress, and you're leading the charge there. That's great. You're also chairman of I2P2M. Can you please describe to us what that organization does?
I'm sorry to create this acronym because
no, it's fine.
Without good acronyms, you don't make it. The acronym I2 stands for International Institute, 2 times I, right. So I2, and Projects and Program Management, 2 times P, Projects and Program, P2M. Mm-hmm. I think the P2M world came from Japanese system in 2001 when they created a body of knowledge called Innovative Enterprises through Projects and Program Management. So I2P2M started in 2011 okay. with the sole aim of setting a new benchmark in executive education. Okay. We believe, and it was certainly true for our senior people in India, as you grow up into the hierarchical seniority in management, you seem to not reflect that you are getting obsolete. But the matter of the fact is that you are obsolete. Oh. The time is changing. Time is unidirectional. Time does not stop. Yes. And as the time changes, the environment changes, the technology changes, your past is not more relevant. Your past is not going to be relevant to future. Then that gap is important to bridge. Not all the past is relevant. Some part, 10% may be relevant, but 90% changes. So therefore, the whole idea of I2P2M is to have part-time diploma program, international executive diploma in project management, where they would come 4 months in India, June, July, August, September. They will go through the various topics of project management, right. Totality in project management, human capital towards excellence, risk management, advanced concepts, critical chain, things like that. And then 5th month, we bring these delegates to United States. And we go to George Washington University. We have 1-day interaction with NASA, Goddard Space Flight Center, and then Government Accountability Office, which reports to US Congress, and Department of Energy, talks about oil and gas. So this is a 5-day module. And this is 17 days, 3 days each month for 4 months in India, 12 days, 5 days here. And I think they find this extraordinary. We would like to work closely with your great university to see how we can also collaborate with you, to see how we can have tie-ups in enhancing the project management framework.
Well, thank you very much. That's an intriguing and exciting prospect to discuss further. That's wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Frank.
Adesh, you, among other many contributions, you made some interesting presentations at NASA. Uh, One was on breaking boundaries, and the other had to deal with stakeholder management. So, would you give us some of the highlights of these two presentations?
No, I think I enjoyed this presentation first time in 2010. As you know, Dr. Ed Hoffman,
Yes.
of Chief Knowledge Officer of NASA, he has been pivotal in organizing these NASA PM Challenge.
He has been pivotal in everything dealing with project management and
I
program
think
management.
he's one of very dear friend of mine for last
Absolutely.
20 years, and I respect him a lot.
Sure.
He has new ideas. So Dr. Hoffman does this NASA PM Challenge used to every 2 years. So 2010, I presented a paper, Breaking Boundaries, the Key to Innovation. And in that presentation, my highlight was that mind has to be totally unbiased. There cannot be gender bias. There cannot be bias based on economies. There cannot be bias of any kind. It is the bias which curtails the energy in innovation. Innovation has to be totally pure, unbiased, new things, new directions, good for the humanity. How can the globe, which is interconnected, can do something for the betterment of the whole globe? We're talking about 69.9 billion people. We are not talking about parts of each country. We have to see a larger picture, look at the whole. So that breaking boundaries, key to innovation, besides this innovation part, I also suggested in that paper, which was highly appreciated, that because of the fact that we have experience, we have a tendency to follow the same experience. You come in the morning, have coffee, have meetings, go for lunch, have another set of meetings, review, go home, sleep, come back again. So this robotic behavior of the pattern of living does not give any chance to do innovations. So what I said that we should do new encounters. We, as irrespective of the age, 40, 50, 60, it doesn't matter. Even at 80, we should have that capacity to try new things. By trying new things, our neural networks gets formed, new neural networks. New things you try, new things you learn. We should be like children. Children learn everything when they're young. But what happens when we become old? We stop learning. And the moment you stop learning, you're dead. So this is where I showed some animation that learning new things, something you should try continuously to create that energy, the neural networks, new neural networks. That was my first presentation in Galveston, Texas in 2010, NASA PM. In 2012, again, next PM challenge, I said awakening project consciousness through stakeholders buying in. Sure. And in this presentation, I make a plea that project has a consciousness because project is run by people and people are running project. Therefore, they can pass on their consciousness to project. When Michelangelo chips the stone, he can see Mary there, sure, and the Mary comes out. So it is a philosophical view of stakeholders. Everybody who is partner in the project and program performance, they should be all part of it. The integration of stakeholders creates that passion, creates that consciousness, same aim, same vision to move forward, betterment of the society. And one of my last slide in that, which was so simple, but I got a lot of acknowledgement for that. I created a concept of E4. E, 4 times E, E4. Education, experience, emotions, and expectations. They all start with E. Okay. And there are 4 times E. I say there are 6.9 billion E4s. Each one has a unique E4. Each one. There cannot be 2 E4 identical. Never. Never possible, in my view. Never. Like fingerprint. If fingerprint is unique, and we don't say that my fingerprint is better than Frank, or Frank doesn't say that his fingerprint is better than us, what we say, we have unique fingerprints. Yes. So similarly, it is in the same context, the E4 is unique. Some people are getting PhDs, some are masters, some are having education at class 10, class 8, does not matter. Education, their experience, their emotions, how they have social encounters, and the encounters in the office that creates a social networking and emotional plane and expectation from each others. So these E4 are unique. The challenge in project and program management is to synergize E4 depending upon the strengths of everybody.
Sure.
When you create the integration of the strengths of everybody, then you can awaken the project consciousness. You cannot divide. The challenge today is to integrate with that tremendous capacity to understand each other and bring them together.
Adesh, I remember a few years back, in at least one of your presentations and papers, you mentioned the term wisdom at a high level of maturity in project management. How does wisdom integrate with E4?
Wisdom actually is the ultimate distillation of all your knowledge. Data gives rise to information. Information gives rise to knowledge. Knowledge, when you apply in real life, gives rise to experience. And that experience will have like a HDL, good cholesterol, and the bad cholesterol. So the experience also has two components, the good component and the bad component of experience. Both are necessary. Like in blood chemistry, you need to have both the good cholesterol and the bad cholesterol. You cannot just have only good cholesterol, you're finished. The ratio is important. The more the good ratio is, higher the ratio, better you are, healthy supposedly. So similarly, the experience, when you have the good side of the experience, it gets transformed into wisdom, what to do, what not to do. And then comes comparatively with more experience and more encounters, more understanding of the human interactions, then you know what is right. And finally, it gets integrated to one common value. Wisdom is something good for the humanity. Ultimately, the wisdom gets translated into goodness of the humanity. That is the wisdom.
Oh, that is wonderful. That's wonderful. Certainly, the stakeholder management is a topic that's receiving a lot more attention. We always knew it was important, but we're seeing a lot more attention to that, and thank you for your efforts in that direction. And about learning, and regardless of age, that's absolutely
Yes.
so. With students first, teachers second. I still remember Dr. Verzilli from Drexel telling us that. I also remember Dr. Deming saying something along the lines of, in my youth, he said, in my youth, when I was only 75 years old, I used to learn something every day, and I'm still learning. He was in his mid-80s at that time when he was saying that. So yes, learning is absolutely essential.
And I think Dr. Deming is a masterpiece example of this learning. Yeah. Learning never stops. Yeah. Learning, the moment learning stops, you are dead mentally. You physically may be alive, but mentally you are dead. It is the learning which makes your neural network. And I'm told 100 million neurons are there and 100 trillion synapses, connections, which are not physically connected. So if you have so much potential, and we say we may not have utilized the capability of this energy, is so much powerful. Aham brahmosmi, I am the creator. The energy of mind is so much. It's unbelievable. So Dr. Deming's example you quoted, Frank, is a great example. Even at the age of 85, he's learning. He's learning. He never stops.
He never stops. Thank you very much. Any additional thoughts regarding the future of global project management?
I think more and more, Frank, I believe the human factor, the synergy, the aim of all the people in the globe is the same, sustainability. How do we make Earth more beautiful? And therefore, there are challenges of making those projects social projects. I think the challenge today is to create social projects which will uplift the poverty, which will uplift those people who have not seen the good side of the life. So our challenge today at a global level is to uplift the people. And it's nothing to do with the country. I think the bifurcation disintegrates everything. I think we have to look at the integration part. Integration is more challenging. how to look at human factor, how to make sure we understand everybody's viewpoint. If E4 is different for everybody, then we cannot say my E4 is the only E4 which will dominate. It's not possible in today's context.
Sure.
In today's context, it's just not possible.
Yeah.
It's to involvement of stakeholders, like you mentioned, the stakeholder management is catching more attention. It is this challenge of people factor, H factor, human relations, human excellence, authentic leadership. Leadership is going to play a very important role.
Okay.
Leadership is going to play more and more important role. Authentic leadership, the leadership in which I believe in. People have to be inspired by the people. And if they get inspiration, they can do anything in the world. There's nothing to stop them, nothing to stop them. The inspiration must come. Inspiration which is not good for me. What is in it for me, that concept has to be demolished. What is good for us is the key challenge when you look at project and program and portfolio management. That is the challenge.
Well, thank you very much, Adesh.
Thank you very much, Frank.
Enjoyed your thoughts,
And it
very
was
insightful.
It's always good to meet you. And
Thank you very much.
It's great to be back here in Drexel after so many decades. Last time I was here was about 95, 96.
Okay.
And I always have very fond memories
Yes.
of Drexel University when I used to visit here.
Well, welcome back, and we hope that you'll visit more often now.
We'll
We're not
visit
going to
more
wait another
often.
20 years.
And we'll work closely with you because you have
Sure.
set up now a project management school. You're chairing that. You have done a lot of work in the last 4 or 5 years. We look forward to work closely with you in certain areas. I2P2M will be very keen to explore that possibilities. Thank you very much, Frank.
Well, thank you very much, Adesh. Thank you very much. We have been talking with our good colleague, Adesh Jain, a global leader in project management. Thank you.
Thank you.